And a good spiritual morning to you once again. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat. And of course, I still got the smoothie going, and because it's still hot out, and I'm trying to be healthier and eat healthier and drink healthier. So I've still got some sort of cucumber, spinach, pineapple, flaxseed thing going, which you get used to after a while, and you feel better, has some energy in the morning. Anywho, today I wanted to talk a little bit about 'tis the season for fantasy football. Kind of. Football's getting ready to start. And don't worry, this isn't a video about football. So don't think, it's kind of hard to know what name to put on, what to call the video. Because if I call it this, people are going to think it's about that. And then they're not going to watch it. But it's never really about that. It's about something else. And how do I explain that in 2 words? Anywho, sports. There's a gap right now in sports. Football hasn't started yet. Basketball's not in full swing. People aren't really watching tennis. We're in the middle of the U.S. Open. I try to watch it. Here and there, not much anymore, but some parts of it. And of course, baseball's going, but baseball season, how many games do they play in a baseball season? Like 560. So it's like, is that still a thing? Baseball is kind of like, until October, who watches baseball? It's like watching paint dry. Sorry. If you're there at a game, it's fun. I mean, baseball game, if you're there, then it's a lot more fun. You kind of have to have the Cracker Jacks and the popcorn and the hot dogs and to make it interesting, I don't know, 12, 13 beers. Without that, it's a little bit boring. Anywho, I'm picking on football a little bit to sort of say football hasn't really kind of started, but people are doing their fantasy football thing. And I know a lot of people don't understand the appeal of fantasy football. I'm not in fantasy football, but I totally get the appeal because you get a sense of participation. You get camaraderie, you get competition. I mean, look, the reality is we're not going to go out there and play anymore. I mean, who's going to suit up? Me in my 50s, I'm not going to suit up and go out and play football, not even flag football. I mean, I'm sorry, just running up the field at full speed, I'm going to throw my back out and blow out a hamstring. So we're not, we're old, we're out of shape, we're injured. We're not going to go play, but we want some sense of competition. So we're watching the games, but it's a little boring. We want to do more than just watch the game. We want to kind of have it be interactive. We want to draft our own team. We want to follow all the stats so we can nerd out over that. So people that might not play it can be great at it because they can memorize all the statistics and know how to draft the best players and blah, 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 blah. Of course, we're going to bet. So there's a little bit of gambling involved. That's always fun for guys. And I'm generalizing. Women, of course, do this as well. But it's sort of just this idea that we have our things. This is just a jumping off point to sort of say everybody's got their thing. And I'm using fantasy football as, some guys, that's their thing. They enjoy doing it. They take pleasure in it. It's a hobby. It's fun. As long as it doesn't get out of hand, as long as it's in balance. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. You need your thing. You need that hobby that can bring you some sense of joy, can bring you some sense of fulfillment, can, brighten your life up a little bit and say, I'm interested in this. Yes, I wish I could say that Christ does that for us, that we're all able to just focus on Christ. And that's the goal. That's the ultimate. If that was the reality, we would all be saints. And we're not. We're on the path to that. So my point is, you're going to have your thing. We're going to have our thing, whatever it might be. For some people, it's fantasy football. Some people don't do that. They do something else. Maybe it's travel. Maybe they love to travel. There's some people that are foodies, right? They have to go to every new restaurant. They know every restaurant in the city. They know what's good on the menu. They can tell you where to eat. They can tell you where not to eat. They're good at that. Some people, they like to get out into nature. They can tell you all the trails that are in your neighborhood. Hey, this is where you should walk, or you should bike over here. Don't go over it. Like whatever it might be. Some people love to shop, right? They've got Amazon Prime boxes on their doorstep every morning, or they make a trip to Target or Hobby Lobby 3 times a week. Whatever your thing is, everybody's got their thing, their hobby, something that brightens up their day, brings them a little joy, and that's great. Just sort of keep it in balance and perspective. That's, I guess, the point that I'm trying to make. Have your fun, but don't forget that we're all sort of trying to get closer to Christ, and that Christ is supposed to be the most important thing in our lives. When you talk to some guys, it could seem like fantasy football is more important to them than their church. Or for some people, they probably would say it is their church. In reality, during football season, at least for those, 16 to 20 weeks, whatever that might be, when they play 16 games, I would hear all the time, I can't go to church. It's football. That would happen in Chicago to me when I was there all the time. And I would hear that. Father, I won't see you on Sunday. The Bears are playing. I'm like, dude, the Bears are playing at 6 o'clock at night. Liturgy's from 10 to 11 in the morning. You can't make it. Well, no, I'm like, come on, you're not West Coast time zone. You can still do it. No, I can't be there. It's kind of like, how much pregame do you have to watch? Keep it in perspective. Come to church. Do you have to watch all 10 games that are on that day? You can't miss a couple. Watch them later, watch highlights. Have balance in whatever you're doing and say, yes, I can do this. I can have my fun. I can have my thing, but I cannot have it at the expense of my relationship with Christ. I can have it so that it brings me joy, so that it helps me build my relationship with Christ. And I guess that's the difference. Try to build up your relationship and use hobbies and things that you enjoy doing to bring you some sense of happiness and some sense of joy, so that in that, on a regular basis, you have the energy to do the things that you want to do. I've got my thing, and it gives me some energy. It makes me happy, whatever that is. And so then, when I want to go volunteer at the local mission, I can do that for an hour or two on a Saturday. When I want to go to church for a service, I can do that. When I want to crack open my Bible, I can do that. When I want to take 30 seconds to say my prayers in the morning, I can do that. I'm not just miserable because I've got something also that brings me a little bit of joy, but I'm keeping it in perspective. It's not my God. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Whatever your thing is, that's not your God. Don't worship that. Make sure Christ is at the center of your life. Make sure that's your God. And whatever your thing is, it's bringing you some joy, some relief, some help, so that you build your relationship with Christ and get closer to Him each and every day. Amen.